While receiving a mail from the HR, Vikram asks Sushil if he too has received it. Sushil says yes and that the mail calls for a meeting on Friday. Vikram is curious about the reason behind the meeting and asks Sushil if he knows anything about it. Sushil says that he has no idea about it. Vikram tells him that he is scared and hopes that they are not distributing pink slips. He recalls Mukesh, who was recently fired by his company. Sushil asks Vikram to stay positive. Vikram goes to the HR room. HR asks him if he's seen the mail. Vikram says yes. The HR tells him that he will get another mail, in which he will have to choose a tax regime. Vikram heaves a sigh of relief and says this means no pink slips will be given. The HR asks why pink slip. All he has to do is choose the tax regime of his choice. The HR tells him that he needs to tell the company whether he wants to opt for the new tax regime or the old. With a sigh of relief, Vikram comes out of the HR room.
So did you see how Vikram became nervous as soon as he received the HR's mail? But after listening to the HR, Vikram is relieved because after all, it is not necessary that every time the HR mail arrives, it ought to be for firing or hiring. Coming to the point, the Income Tax Department has asked the employers to ask the consent of the employee in choosing the tax regime. If you are a salaried person, then understand that the Income Tax Department will consider your silence as a yes for the new tax regime.
The Central Board of Direct Taxes has asked the employers to ask the employees whether they want to remain in the new or old tax regime. Actually, according to the tax regime, the tax on salary will be calculated and the employer will make tax deductions at source, which will be made. From financial year 2023-24, that is the assessment year 2024-25, the new tax regime has been made the default option. You can choose the right tax regime for yourself through the tax calculator available on the Income Tax Department's website. For this, calculate the tax in both the tax regimes according to the estimated income of the financial year 2023-24. As a salaried person, you have to inform the employer, that is the company, about your preferred tax regime. If you do not choose either the new or old tax regime, then the employer will deduct income tax according to the new regime.
Yes, on 5th of April 2023, CBDTS came out with this clarificatory circular number 4/2023, in which it has asked the deductors to ask their employees about their intention to opt for the regime. Now, from 1st of April 2023, new regime is the default regime. So with this, actually, the deduction was creating a problem that how the employer will deduct your TDS. So they asked CBDT and CBDT came out with a clarification. Now with this, they have superseded their 2020 circular because that was issued on the prior way. So now as per new regime, they are asking their employees to declare their regime. If they don't give any intent, new regime is the default regime. So basically, there is no restriction with employees to change their regime anytime. For businessman, it is only once, but for salaries, it is not there. So at the time of filing of ITR, employees are permitted to file the returns as per their own regime. This circular is only for the deduction of TDS. So this is very clear with that.
The tax received from the common taxpayer is used by the government for running and development of public welfare schemes. The provisional net direct tax collection in the financial year 2022-23 was 16.61 lakh crore rupees. In the financial year 2021-22, the tax collection was 14.12 lakh crore rupees. The tax collection increased by 17% in the last 1 year. A major part of direct tax collection comes to the government in the form of TDS. The new tax regime was introduced in the year 2020. Several steps have been taken in the budget of FY 2023-24 to make the new regime attractive. Firstly, there will be no tax on income up to 7 lakh rupees in the new tax regime. The number of slabs has been reduced from 6 to 5 in the new regime. The income tax exemption limit has been increased from 2.5 lakh rupees to 3 lakh rupees. The standard deduction has been made a part of the new regime.
It is believed that the income tax department wants you to choose your preferred tax regime at the beginning of the year itself and pay taxes accordingly. Perhaps this is the reason why these instructions have been given, and in the old tax regime there are around 70 exemptions and deductions including HRA, ATC, ATD and section 24 subsection B, which are not available in the new tax regime. However, the tax rates have been kept low. Now, whether to choose new or the old tax regime and which one is better for you, get to know from your tax expert. But you can still revise your choice at the time of filing returns.
The interesting question which everybody is asking nowadays, which regime is better, new one or the old one? Actually, with this budget this year and later on approval by Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, now up to 7,27,000 rupees, there is no tax at all. It's equivalent to that. So with this, new regime has become more attractive. However, there are no deductions, no exemptions are there, except standard deduction of 50,000 rupees, which is available under new regime now. So it is available in both. But if you really compare, I will say that new regime is better because there is no need to keep any documents. You have your own money, whatever way you like to use it. So there is no restriction for putting it in the tax saving instruments like insurance or equity funds and all that. So that is not required. You can opt your own best plans. The insurance company has to come out with the best plans. So up to 16 lakhs rupees, if you earn, so under both the regimes, the tax liability is same. There is no difference at all. And moreover, this is for the purpose of when you claim a deduction of 3,75,000 rupees only. Up to that level, it is same. After that, you have to compare your numbers. What kind of deductions you are claiming? If you are claiming house rent allowance, if you are claiming interest on house property interest, then certainly you have to compare the numbers. So you need to talk to your professionals and accordingly claim it. But I will suggest you don't make any fudging claims.